Colorado, Kansas was a slave state. George Washington Carver, the Peanuts and all that, he was born and reared in Kansas. So they skipped Colorado because of the ever-productive steel mill, because they needed all the experience and the hard work of those slaves to come here and help to make the steel mill and Pueblo a big city. And at one time, Pueblo, Colorado was the second largest city in the state of Colorado.
History.
And if you had family here, and they finished high school, the mill would send you to college. You had to go to an all-black college like Wilberforce.
See that? That's history.
Bishop, Spelman, but it had to be a black college. And Pueblo have a long history of educators because of the steel mill and because of the production that was given by the people here to make it better. So we have strong women, the AC, Mrs. Jones, all the different ones, Thelma Bates. I don't know how many of you remember.
Beautiful, yes.
Even if you know about this. Thelma Bates grew up in the deaf and blind school. And do you know that sign language? Can you hear me? Okay, all right. Okay, and can you imagine a black woman from a deaf and blind school?
Amazing.
From Pueblo, Colorado, had a degree in 1948.
What a blessing.
1948. And she was so well educated that there were job opportunities given to her like Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama. But she fell in love with a man named Buster Bates. And he told her she would not be going south. So she didn't go south, but she really accomplished a lot here in Pueblo, Colorado. She passed about 6 months ago in 93 years.
Retired educator, Pueblo. Was probably 39 years in education.
Beautiful.
Loved teaching, loved being a principal. But I'm going to just tell you this real quick story about how I got to Ruth. As a principal at Goodnight School on the south side of Pueblo, first year or so there, I'd been on the east side of Pueblo for several years. We had an open house, and we had some new grandparents that came into the community. And I'll say freely who they are. I don't think it's a bad thing. Many of you know Helen and Ron Wiley. Okay. They enrolled their son at our school. So we have back to school night, and I'm the new principal of this school. I didn't know what to expect. Like I said, been on the east side, a whole different culture. And Mr. Wiley came up to me, and a school board member was standing there with me. I think they wanted to be there to make sure this young principal could handle the school. And he said, Mrs. West, I'm just very disappointed in your staff, in your school. And I said, excuse me, what do you mean? And he said, you have no one of color. Now, mind you, our minds are like a computer, so we work quick. All I could think about, remember, I'd come from the east side. I grew up on the south side of Pueblo. My mind went through, it's a Rolodex of, well, I have lots of minority Hispanic teachers in my school. And then it, and it dawned on me what Mr. Wiley was saying. I really didn't have anybody of color, African American on my staff. And now you got the school board member who she gets way away from me. And she's waiting to see what I'm going to say. And I said, I'm going to be real honest with you, Mr. Wiley. I really had never thought about it. When we interview candidates and we look at things on paper, it doesn't say what color is.
Right.
It's a person and their credentials. But it put me into thinking. You know, I moved here from Walsenburg in 4th grade about what that really meant. And in Pueblo, I don't think I ever saw a big difference. We weren't raised that way. But when you have somebody that comes from outside in, you see and you learn about the culture and the climate because you've lived a different life than we've lived, many of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so anyway, it just really put me on high alert. So if you, and I mean the Wileys as grandparents now still work the school carnival. The other night at Good Night, I was there. Mrs. Wiley, Grandma's the president of the carnival. She keeps it running. Mr. Wiley's the walk-around security. They're still giving to a community that I had him come and talk to our students during February and Black History Month. And he was with the prisons. He built one of the new prisons in Kenya. And he had a picture. It was a family. There was somebody missing in the family. He said, do you have a family picture that's missing anyone in your family? He said, this is an American family. This is what makes up our country. But he said, I'm not in the picture. My people aren't in the picture. From there, it just really, again, became my goal to know more. And I know, you know, growing up as a young mom, my son's basketball team, many of our best friends, the grandma's singing Bethlehem church over here in the choir and this and that. Okay, so then fast forward, I go to the administration building as Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. So now I can take my mission a little further. First thing I get met with, the Equal Opportunity Employment Committee. And I'm thinking, oh no, I was a principal, I was a teacher. I don't know what all this means, but I'll have to learn. This first person in on my committee.
Okay.
That's how far back we go. And she did say, honey, I'm going to teach you a few things. I said, I don't know.
All right.
I'm from Pueblo, Colorado. We never had any big pieces of the pie in history until I learned from here what we heard today.
Beautiful.
About
Beautiful.
history from Pueblo.
Yes.
I didn't know that. I didn't know about the orphanage. I knew there was McClellan, and I knew there was Sacred Heart. And until I met Ruth, and she said, you need to start coming to some stuff. And Mr. Paul Arriaga, I don't know if any of you know him, they're very involved, central people and community people. He was my one of my executive directors in the office. He said, I'm going with you. Well, you remember I brought Paul down, and he started talking to Ruth about the old Central Centennial and the athletes. And the names that came up that Ruth said they lived here. They lived here. They lived here. And so, I mean, our knowledge began to expand about there's a whole piece of culture in Pueblo that we don't know about. It's a small percentage of our population. What's our African American population? 2 to 2.5%. But a huge impact that none of us know about. We really don't until you start into it. So I made it my mission in HR. I started looking at the cultural and ethnic background of all of our staff.
Beautiful. And
so that was my goal when I went recruiting. And talked to Ruth a lot. So, okay, so we get to Sierra, as Andre said. And I see these two people standing in the middle of the room looking at all these school districts. And I thought, well, this is your job, girl. Get up and go over there because they look like they're somebody that I need to know about. Very well polished, very put together, beautiful people. And so we spoke, and they came on to Pueblo, and we've had ups and downs.
We did.
Because again, we don't all value each other in our community.
There you go.
And that's kind of one of the biggest deterrents in my mind. So fast forward, okay, I retired. I've never cut my ties or severed my ties with my friends and people that I know from the district. But I work now for Magnet Schools of America. I'm a consultant in Magnet Schools of America. And we have some magnet schools in Pueblo. Are all about equity, diversity, and opportunity.
Okay.
And that's what we do across the country to make sure that all of the students are served with an equal opportunity. And how do we take some of those cultural and racial barriers and break them wide open, because education's for everybody. There's another old friend of mine, teacher friend back
See that?
I don't know if she remembers, but I do.
Miss Parks.
Anyway, so that's what I do now. So I do a lot of work in Washington. I've been in Los Angeles schools. In fact, Andre, I just thought of you. I was driving and I was scared to death because they sent me to schools all over
It caught.
this school district with 650,000 kids
Yes.
in the Los Angeles schools.
Yes.
So I'm going to 4 schools. Well, of course, they gave me from Anaheim clear up to what's the northern point, I can't remember.
Right.
But I get off of the highway. And
91
I have
freeway.
a friend with me, so she could be the navigator. I said, you're coming to California with me because I can't figure out where I'm going. I can't look at the map on my cell phone. And I get off of the highway and I said, I think I took a wrong turn. And we pull in and I see this sign, welcome to Compton, California. And I thought of Andre.
Yes.
That's where it came from. One of the highest gang,
That's
highest
right.
crime.
Where it started.
We pull in and I pulled in somewhere and I said, do not get out of the car.
Whatever you do.
I didn't see anybody. I had no reason. Just what Andre and Shirley had told me. You know, when they came to Pueblo, I thought, well, they have a lot to offer us. They lived this life in the middle of it as educators, as community people,
Yes.
as people of faith. So anyway, she said, what do you mean? Where? I said, don't get out. I have some friends. I rolled down the window and there was some kind of a serviceman in a truck. I said, can you tell me I need to be in wherever I needed to be the next day? And she said, I said, I'll tell you when we're driving. But I saw it.
Okay.
But I didn't see awful things. I mean, I was just barely off. But I knew Andre said, you never want to be there. And I'm not bad-mouthing that community.
Yeah.
It's just, they have a lot of challenges.
They do.
But anyway, so through all these experiences and my work with magnet schools, I've come to appreciate that which I really didn't grow up with in Pueblo. A whole culture, a community, a race, and their contributions. That we in Pueblo focus maybe more on, you know, the steel mill background, which is Slovenian and Hispanic and, you know, Italian, Roman Catholic, and that's my background. But I have learned, and this beautiful lady, and of course Andre and Shirley keep me grounded and connected. That the family picture really includes everybody.
Wonderful.
And under, you know, the auspices of your faith, your belief in God, your family values and your culture. If we lose that, we have nothing.
Nothing.
But without these stories that we're hearing today, and the wonderful words from Pastor Andre at this point, we lose it. And a building like this should be filled with people.
Could be.
Going. And I think when they say, what can we do for our community, we have to bring some faith back.
Yeah.
You said it right.
And you have to have a belief that people help people. We give each other the helping hand up. I don't care what your color is, what your faith is, what your education level is, what your problem is. What we're facing now with our new laws in this state for marijuana, and everywhere I go, they ask me, how's that going in Colorado? My feeling is we could very well lose a generation.
Could be.
My other feeling is there's a lot of good about it for medical purposes.
Yes.
But I don't know enough to talk about it anywhere other than what people view us from the outside in. And if we wanted to do anything for our community, which right now has a horrible reputation, we're not reading the things that people do go to church, people do believe. People do have 3 and 4 generations on Sunday for your family meal. My family still does the old Italian thing, Sunday spaghetti day.
Beautiful.
But if we gave it up, we'll lose. And I won't see those great little nieces and nephews. I won't see those if we don't do the Sundays. So I just think as a community of Pueblo, and those of you in this very room can walk out and make an impact. I don't judge, I'm not preaching that way. I'm just saying there are things that if we keep control of it, we can make it a good thing, not a bad thing for our community. And people like Ruth Steele and Andre and Phyllis really have brought it to the forefront for everyone. And I just appreciate all of you. And you never want to give me a microphone because I don't know how to give it up. I get a cane. There's an old school teacher story. Thank you for asking me to be here. I do have something in the car I want to go out and get for you. And so I'll let Andre finish up, and I'm going to go get it back so that the folks can see it.